Welcome back, everyone, to the Creator's Log. I'm Carlos, and today we're going to be talking about choosing a podcast hosting platform, part two. Today we're going to be talking about Captivate, Buzzsprout, Transistor, and RSS.com. Within these are the one that I am currently hosting with. So we're going to begin with Captivate because Captivate is one of the first ones I started with. And remember that I did in the last episode, I compared Captivate with Castos. They're kind of similar in the sense that they're, I believe, both British. I know Captivate is, but they're also very similar when it comes to their layout. Obviously, Captivate is top notch when it comes to growth. They're very growth centric. So if you are looking to grow your podcast, grow your network, Captivate is probably your best option. Now, it's probably also one of the most affordable ones when it comes to hosting multiple podcasts, which in my case was probably the best deal. However, my problem, the reason I left Captivate, I rather say, not problem, is that it became a little glitchy when it came to my monthly payments. When I first subscribed to Captivate, I had gotten 90 days free in January. I did not know that I subscribe for a yearly plan, which is why they had given me that 90-day offer. I clicked on the monthly, and somehow my subscription became an annual subscription. So when I was getting to know Captivate, there was certain, I would say, tools that were available to me during that trial run of 90 days that once the 90 days expired and I tried going into monthly, they disappeared. One, it was giving me a little bit of a hard time switching into monthly from annual because I could not get hold of customer support. Every time they answer me was basically the next day, and I would get back to them and the conversation would start all over again. So it was a cat and mouse kind of game. I'm not saying their customer service is not good. I'm just saying their customer service is not in my time zone. So we were kind of like behind playing cat and mouse. Now, their prices and what it includes is very straightforward, which this is what I love. Don't talk to me about bandwidth, talk to me about numbers. Now, Captivate is $19 if you pay monthly. You can host unlimited podcasts, you can host unlimited episodes, you have extensive distribution list. It's also a one click and you're done. But when it comes to numbers, you get only 30,000 downloads per month throughout your entire podcast. So if you have 5 podcasts, you're sharing 6,000 amongst all 5. So that is something to consider because if you have one podcast that is a hit and you have 4 podcasts, keep in mind that the other podcasts are not going to have enough downloads left. So you're going to have to upgrade to the professional, which is $49 for 150,000 downloads a month. If you're getting 150,000, we should talk. You're doing something right. So they have pretty good pricing, I would say. If you are growing, they're pretty good when it comes to that. Their marketing tools are probably the best out of these top 4 because these that I'm talking about right now are going to be the top 4 from my experience. And their marketing is probably the best. The other ones, I don't even think believe in marketing. So that alone, this is a clear winner. And you're wondering why I left Captivate. Well, again, they couldn't charge me properly. And 2 is the most hurtful of them all. Remember when I said I had a 90-day free trial? And one of the tools that was available to me then was not available when I started paying monthly was the AI assistant. Now, the AI assistant, I had it for free during those 90 days. trials. And the best thing that it had was that if you did not know what you wanted to talk about, it would go through your podcast list or your titles and suggest you other conversations. Same thing that ChatGPT does. So if you want to pay $5 extra on Captivate, or you can just go to ChatGPT and do it for free. But it was something that I discovered and it was helping me so much. So when I lost it, it became kind of like, why do I want to stay here now? The one thing that I was using was that AI tool. And I started using ChatGPT for that same reason, which is to give me title suggestions, give me transcripts from my episodes, create something from my episode. That assistant that they had offered me for 90 days all of a sudden was gone. All the other tools that the website has, I would change them in a minute for that AI tool. Hands down, probably the best AI tool within a podcasting host that I've seen. So that was the main reason for me to leave Captivate. Again, their customer service, I couldn't get through with them. It affected my billing. And then losing that tool that I really wanted, that I have no reason now to pay $5 a month for 5 hours when I could just pay $8 for ChatGPT and get the same service. So it's things that you kind of learn how to live without. And if I were to come back to Captivate, I think I can now live without it because I have substituted elsewhere. But having to pay so much to get a transcript, which again, it's only 5 hours that you get, you might as well pay for Adobe where you're already recording and you can download the transcript already. So there's no need to pay that amount of money. So the other part that they don't disclose here is the video. I believe they're charging $12 or $20. The pricing is not here. They're not very clear about that yet. So if you're going video, it's only 1,000 video downloads for about $12 to $20. So if you're going into video, why would you want to limit yourself to 1,000 downloads? You might as well stick to YouTube. So don't see that as an expense you want to do now just because Apple Podcasts is doing video. Don't rush yourself into that. You can get a 30-day trial with Captivate. Try it out. Check out those tools. I am sure that you're going to love them, especially if you know marketing, if you work with project management, as I have, you're going to love those tools. Now, I did say in the last episode that some of these that have integrated websites are hard to find. That was Captivate. Captivate's website builder was probably the one I had most difficulty with. It doesn't really give you a website that you can see. You just got to go by instinct that you're doing things right. And then when you finally hit publish, I couldn't find it. So that is probably a negative. But now that I have my own website, all I need to do is embed my player or just find my podcast in my website, attach it, and I'm good to go. So that doesn't keep me up at night. But I know a lot of people do want to have that website where they can just forward their RSS to, and you choose the player you want. So you don't have to be pushing Apple Podcasts or Spotify because some people might be using some other tools to listen to your podcast. So having a website podcast is very important because you can just copy that link and people can just go click the RSS and decide where they want to listen. Captivate, great. The pricing, amazing. It is a little bit more complicated. Out of these four, I would say Captivate is the most complicated when it comes to their interface. It's, it has a lot. It gets overwhelming. But within those 30 days, I'm pretty sure you're going to learn a lot. And there's certain things that are not activated until you start paying, which is monetization. So if you want to monetize as soon as you start making podcasts, you're going to have to start paying the $20 before you activate that. Moving on to Transistor. Transistors should probably be at the beginning of this because my experience with Transistor was I signed up and that was it. I kept going through the website. It is very user friendly. It is very easy to manage, but I don't know. I don't know what it's about Transistor that I just couldn't get into it. And then I started reading the pricing, and that's when I find out that it was all about the dynamic ads. Dynamic ads is something you want because you always want to have that option of inserting an ad here or an ad there, especially if you're starting out and you're getting a sponsor or two. You want to have that dynamic ad already there. And you already have that with Captivate for $20 a month. In Transistor, to have that, you have to pay $50 a month. That is a no no. With $20, you can host unlimited podcasts, but you only get 20K monthly downloads. Captivate, you get 30. Here, you get 20. You get advanced analytics, you get the live customer support, which great, because I love live customer support. You get your built-in podcast website, your podcast network website, which if you are doing multiple podcasts, I suggest you put them all under one network. It does have great features and great tools, but the pricing just jumps so fast from 20 to 50 just to have the dynamic ad roles. That is not worth it to me. And now, if you're especially if you're trying to monetize from the beginning, that already is a deal breaker. And that's when I started looking into Transistor. I'm like, oh, great. So I have unlimited podcast. Great. But there's something here missing. And I couldn't put my finger on it until I went into the pricing and features. That's when I said, I can't do Transistor because I'm trying to talk to small businesses, not necessarily to monetize, because even if they're not paying me to promote them, it is something I want to do. Because the reason I created my podcast on physical media was to spotlight small businesses, small creators in the physical media community. So if I wanted to do an ad and run it through my podcast, talking about that small business in Ohio, which I just want to do for free, I want to have that option. With Transistor, unless I'm paying $50, I don't have that. But it is a great website. I'm not going to lie. Transistor is a great website. It is a great community, probably better than Captivate's community, but a lot of people know Captivate. So even if they're not very active, because their podcast is not active, its last episode was years ago, you still have a lot of people that talk about it. You still have their leaders going around talking about it. So you still have that community active, even though their podcast isn't, even though their YouTube channel is lacking. But Transistor is a very active community. So I would say check Transistor out if you don't mind the dynamic ads. If that's not a deal breaker for you, go ahead, try it out. 20,000 downloads. Again, if you're getting 20,000 downloads, you shouldn't have a problem at this point. So, Transistor, very easy to manage. It's a beautiful website. It has a beautiful interface. You find things very easily. I had some complications. I can't remember what they were. So, I'm going to try to see if I can go back into Transistor, activate an account again, to go through the weeds of what was it, because besides the dynamic ads, there was something else that kinda broke the deal for me, and for the life of me, I can't remember, but I promise that I'm gonna try Transistor again, and if I find what it was, I am gonna drop it later in another episode. Now, Buzzsprout, we all know Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout is everywhere. Buzzsprout has a podcast. Is Buzzsprout what is made up to be? I will say sure. Not necessarily, top notch, but it is probably one of the best for indie podcasters. Their pricing is good. What I like about Buzzsprout right now is that out of the ones that are pushing video, they are probably the most transparent. So let's start with the non-video. Let's start with the audio. It actually went down $1 because the audio was $19 a month. Now it's $18 a month. So that's actually a better price. It's $1, but $1 goes a long way, especially if you're doing annually. Now, you can do 90 days for free. It's not a full lifetime. No, it's 90 days. But within those 90 days, at least you have an idea of what you want to do, what your podcast is, your podcast art, your first episodes. So those 90 days are worth it. Now, you do have some limitations. Sure, I think it's like 2 hours a month. But if you're doing short episodes for now, while you get the hang of this, I think that is probably a good option to go with. But again, it limits you. The $18 a month, some of the features is like, again, the 6 hours. So you have about 6 hours a month. That's only one podcast. That's it. It's probably, like they say, is the easiest way to get started because it is. Then you have the podcast directories, you have the advanced stats, you have the unlimited episodes, you have the premium website, the add-on availability, whatever that is, and the premium features. Now, just like Captivate, what bothers me about their premium features, some other premium features, is that you have to upgrade for co-host AI. You have to upgrade for magic mastering. If you're already paying for Descript, for Riverside, for Adobe, you don't need to pay for this because this is, I think, about $5 to $10. Because if you have two people or if you have two podcasts, you have to pay for each. So that's when things start adding up when it comes to Buzzsprout. Now, if you want to publish unlimited podcasts, then you have to move on to the $39 a month, which, by the way, I no longer see here. So now the $30 a month is audio plus video. So you get the upload up to 6 hours, published video on Apple Podcasts, the 1080p video resolution listed in podcast directories, audio and video all from the same place. I'm not gonna lie, that is probably one of the best options when it comes to audio plus video. Why? Because I did tell you that Captivate charges separately. It's not part of the $19 a month, it charges separately. So do the ones I talked about the last episode. They're included, they just don't say how many episodes or how many downloads. That's where things kind of get lost in the weeds. And at least they're being very straightforward. They're saying, we give you 6 hours per month, and this is what it includes. Now, they have this little table that is like choose your own adventure kind of type, and you can do the multi podcast. I do apologize. They do have it. I just remembered that now you have to say how many podcasts you're hosting so they can kind of tally at the bottom. So if you're doing just audio, up to 5 podcasts, it's $36 a month, which is pretty good because I think it was 39. So see, that dollar adds up. Now, if you're doing audio plus video up to 5 podcasts, that becomes $60. Now, between those 5 podcasts, you only get 15 hours a month. So if you keep it under 3 podcasts, you probably have a lot of hours. But if you're literally up to 5, that's like 3 hours per show. That's not enough. To me, that's not enough. Now, we're gonna do the up to 10 podcasts, audio only. That jumps up to $78 a month. And if you're doing 10 audio plus video podcasts, that jumps up to $96 a month for 35 hours distributed amongst those 6 to 10 podcasts. I still think that's pretty good deal. I'm not selling video to anybody. I'm still trying to grasp at a conversation I want to have with you guys later on about video because I am having some thoughts on it. Not good thoughts or bad thoughts, just thoughts in general. But if you are starting with video and you only have the one podcast, I will highly recommend that $30 a month and just do yourself a favor and get yourself a cheap editing software like Adobe or Riverside for free and just try it out because that is a pretty good deal. Because again, they're being very transparent with what they're giving you. And Buzzsprout is probably the easiest one to use out of all these. RSS.com is also very easy to use, but it has some limitations when it comes to certain things that Buzzsprout offers. And they also have an app. Buzzsprout has a mobile app. I'm actually probably selling myself this. I'm selling Buzzsprout to myself as I speak because I remember loving Buzzsprout because I like having it on my phone. I like being able to go to my phone and be like, oh, there's my podcast. I don't have to go into Safari and go to then rss.com or Captivate or Transistor or whomever doesn't have an app at this point to check the stats of my podcast. That is one thing I love about Buzzsprout. So if you're creating with your mobile, if all you have is a plug and play mic and a phone, Buzzsprout is the best route for you. Now, I don't recommend anything if I haven't tried it, but Buzzsprout is probably one of the best experiences that I had. I left it because I was creating 2 other podcasts, and it was jumping so fast from $20 to $40. That's the only reason I left Buzzsprout. But if Buzzsprout gave me unlimited podcasts for 20 hours a month for $20, I would come back. I would jump back into Buzzsprout in a minute, in a heartbeat. I would come back to Buzzsprout. And also, their community online is very active. So you are in good hands. They're very education first. That's what I want to say. They're very education first. And as a matter of fact, the reason I say it is because they repeat it constantly. And I was like, it feels like you're going into college, to be honest. When you're hosting with Buzzsprout, it's like you're in college. Like you go to their website and it's like going into a school website. And if you studied online, you probably know what I'm talking about. And that is a good thing. Don't take it the wrong way. That is actually a good thing. You have a lot of tools here that they offer that you kind of have to apply to other hosts because those other hosts don't talk about this. And I'm like, how do I do this? I would go to Buzzsprout, look it up. Oh, okay. But I'm hosting with somebody else. Why do I have to go to Buzzsprout to get that information? Why can't my host do this for me? Now, moving on to the last one, not last and least, just the last one of these top four. And you probably noticed that I'm not talking about Spotify and I'm not talking about whatever other websites you can host with. Spotify, I think you should own your own stuff, and Spotify does not do that. But if you are starting from zero and your budget is zero, start with Spotify. There's no shame in starting with something just because it's free. I just think that be careful. Your show might get lost, your show might get deleted, and it's your show. So if you're hosting with Spotify, I do suggest that you keep a backup MP3 of your show just in case. Because a lot of shows, one of the shows that I was listening to, I can't find it anymore. So just be careful with that. Now, RSS.com is my host. I'm not going to push you RSS.com just because I have a affiliate link. I have it. I'll share it at the bottom. I'm sharing all these links at the bottom. But I host with RSS.com because I have multiple podcasts, and RSS.com is unlimited. Unlimited podcasts, unlimited hosting, unlimited. That's it. That's the number that I need to know. I like either a number or I like something that is unlimited. With RSS.com, you can start with the local and niche plan, which is completely free for life, free. So you want to go to Spotify because it's free? Guess what? So is RSS.com, and the podcast is yours. Not 90-day free, not 14-day free, free, period. And it includes unlimited episodes, unlimited audio. You get your public RSS feed, embeddable podcast players. So if you're building your own website elsewhere, guess what? The money you're saving here, build your own website, take this, embed it over there. It's a great option. Create a site for your podcast. Remember when I said that I couldn't find my website in Captivate? Well, here I find it. Literally, it's right above in the little tabs right above your episodes. It says visit website. You can copy that, paste it anywhere you want. What you're sharing is actually your website. So people can actually go to your show website. All the episodes are going to be there, but it also gives you the option to listen wherever you want to listen. So that is a pretty good deal. And again, all these hosts, they all have websites, but RSS was the only one that I was able to find. Now, you have the basic analytics when it comes to the free. The analytics that you're getting are very basic. And that is probably the problem that RSS has. Even with me paying, because I have the highest tier, I feel like the analytics are still pretty basic. Not gonna lie, they're pretty basic. I think Captivate has obviously they have the best analytics, followed by probably Buzzsprout. With RSS.com, I feel like I need more. I need to understand my audience more because some of my episodes are doing great and I want to know where and why. I want to know where people are dropping. I want to know if people are stopping at 5 minutes to the ending of the episode. I can't see that with RSS. You do get the automatic distribution, so it's a one click done. Accept listener donations. That's pretty good, especially if you have a Patreon page. That is pretty good. You can get the paid through value for value, which I kind of want to learn how to use. And I believe you just have to link your card to something. And when I activate it, I'll let you guys know. You can keep your email private because remember, if you are putting your RSS out there, especially for Apple Podcasts, you need to have the email where they'll confirm your identity, basically. You got to keep that in mind. The pod roll recommendations, where you want to play your ads, you can track where in the world your show is doing good. Ironically, somehow I'm good in Sweden too now. So that's good. You got the copyright protection for your content, and you also get real human support. And in that, I can testify it is true. I emailed them. I had some issues because I had the wrong email. When I transferred to RSS, I had the wrong email and they helped me swap my email. I had a free subscription. So when I went into the pay subscription, I wanted to change my card. There were some certain things that I needed to do and they were on top of it. I'm telling you, they were helping me step by step, no complaints, and I was complaining a lot. Now, you can jump into the all in one podcasting, which is about $15 a month, still affordable. And here you kind of lose the branding of RSS. So it's going to be a non branded embedded player. You can invite team members. If you're working with anyone, you get the AI generated transcripts, which remember in the other one you had to pay. So this one is completely free. Well, not free, it's included in your plan. So if you're already paying for things, why do you have to pay extra? And guess what? With this one, with 10 downloads, you can start making money. And yeah, it's not going to be big money. It's probably like a cent per every 10 episodes. But guess what? It could be worse. You could be making no sense per episode in another hosting. So that is a pretty good deal because this is something they're offering you. It's not something that you have to go find the sponsors. No, they just automatically put the ads. But do keep in mind that I told you that one of my listeners said that one of my episodes had a lot of ads. So please keep in mind your listeners. Do not add every ad just because you can, because you don't want to ruin the listening experience, especially if you're starting off. You're still building your community, you're still gaining listeners. Don't scare them off with ads. Don't do what I did because I didn't know how to manage the ads. The most important thing here is the AI generated transcript. Now, you get everything as the local and niche. Oh, and you do get the audio to video to YouTube. It's not going to be the video, it's just the audio video, kind of like an audiogram directly to YouTube with one click. What I suggest, and this is what I do, first publish to all the directories, and then at the bottom of your episode, in your main page of your podcast, at the bottom, there's going to be a little TV where you activate and you publish to YouTube. Once you do that, click use a different transcript, a different title, because you want to have a better SEO friendly title in YouTube, and you're going to want to have a better SEO transcript in YouTube. So you might have to switch some things around. So do not automatically click publish. No, make sure that you say that you want to use a different description. And then at the bottom, put your hashtags that would go again automatically to YouTube. Keep that in mind when you're publishing, whether it's with RSS.com or another host. I don't know if other hosts allow you to do that different transcription to YouTube thing that RSS does, but if they do, keep that in mind. Now, to the plan that I have is the podcast networks. Like I said, I have 3 podcasts. Here you have unlimited team members. So if you have multiple people, friends that you're working with, $5 each goes a long way with this plan. If you have a group of friends or if you're with a co-host and you both are working together, this is probably the best choice. Now, you get the unlimited podcast, the unlimited team members, you get the all-time podcast analytics, which I say it kind of lacks a little bit for me. So again, I recommend RSS because I use it, but I also recommend Buzzsprout because I used it. And the analytics here, because I'm starting off, I don't mind. But again, there's certain things that I want to see that I can't see. You get the automatic transcripts, you get the unbranded YouTube videos. With the all-in-one podcasting, you do get the branded YouTube videos. Then you get everything that was included in the previous 2. But it's a lot. If you go into their website and you go to the pricing, it's a lot of features there listed. And sometimes you're like, oh, unlike Riverside and Descript, that there's a lot going on, and you're like, I wish I had less. When you're hosting for less money, you want to have more because this is what they do. This is what hosting platforms do. Hosting platforms are not recording for you. They're not editing your videos. They're not jumping through hoops. No, your hosting platform is there to host. So that's what you want it to do. And these 4 that I talked about, even though Transistor, I wasn't too much in love with it, are the top 4 for me. Whether you're paying or whether you're using RSS.com entirely for free, if you have 1 episode and you don't mind being limited to certain things, which is not much because you're getting unlimited episode, unlimited audio. I don't know what's going to limit you there. Maybe the analytics, maybe, I don't know, the team members. If that's the case, then yeah, just jump one more step up, pay $15. But it is a pretty good deal. It is a great deal when you guys want a podcast for free. And when we were talking about the software recording platforms, I did say that I was going to tell you guys how to podcast at the lowest budget. This is the lowest budget. This is the lowest budget with you keeping your content. I am very pro free speech. I say a lot of bad words, and I don't want my content to be taken off a podcasting platform because I use the F word many times. I don't want to be kicked out because somebody did not like my content. Somebody doesn't like horror movies, and whether their beliefs or whatever doesn't align with my point of views, I don't want to be kicked out of a platform without me knowing and finding out that I have lost everything I have sat here for hours talking about. My recommendation for you, an indie podcaster, for me, an indie podcaster, is to start free. Free, but still have your own voice. Free, still have control of your content. If you add Adobe or Descript or Riverside in their free versions, yeah, you might be limited, but how much are you going to be podcasting your first few weeks that you need to upgrade so fast to a $25 a month program? I don't think that much unless you're recording in bulk. Now, if you do want to spend money on a recording software like Descript or Riverside, well, guess what? You can still host for free and still keep your own content because RSS.com gives you that. Unless you want to go with Spreaker and just limit yourself to 15 minutes, great. And you can record with rec. So there's options. There's options. There's options for you to keep your content that you don't have to sell your soul to Spotify. This is not a campaign against Spotify. It's just that Spotify, if they want, they could just block you from entering Apple Podcast. Because guess what? If you're trying to go with video, let me burst your bubble. Your video is only going to be on Spotify. That's why I didn't include Spotify in this hosting platforms because Spotify is actually a pretty good host. Not for me, but I have friends who host solely on Spotify. And I recently, one of the people that I talked to, his episode, his host, Spotify, his episode was available everywhere except on Spotify. There was some kind of glitches and stuff like that. The episode was not available. And he was praising Spotify literally the day before. And then the day after, he was complaining about it. Remember the episode of me praising Adobe and then all of a sudden Adobe corrupts my file? Exact same situation. So just to wrap it up, guys, I'm going to link all of these hosting platforms below: Captivate, Buzzsprout, Transistor, RSS.com. Check them out, try them out. Go with what your budget permits. Just make sure that your voice is the important thing. Doesn't matter where you host, doesn't matter where you record. What matter is your voice. What matters is your content, whether it's recorded professionally or just a simple recording. What matters is your voice and your content. And if you want to support my podcast, you can go ahead to KRPODLAB, that is KRPOD Lab on Instagram and krpodlab.com. Check those out. I still want some more feedback on my website. Just go check it out. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting my show. Shout out to those people in Sweden, whomever you are. I'll probably try to learn Swedish to do an episode in Swedish. I don't know. And shout out to those people in Canada. I will find out where those cities are. I only know Toronto, Calgary. That's as far as I go. But shout out to those people in Canada. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Thank you so much for supporting indie podcasters. Thank you so much for the messages on Instagram and keep them coming. I love talking to you guys. I'll see you guys the next time. This has been the Creator's Log.